Om Shanti. Is my voice clear?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, very good morning to everyone. And Sunday morning for most of us. In Mumbai, it's a wet morning, long awaited rain showing up and getting ready to have a pleasant start to a pleasant day. Let's take a couple of moments to stabilize ourselves and prepare to enrich our soul with some learnings. A deep, calm breath as you breathe in. Breathing in goodness, freshness, aliveness, and breathing out any kind of a stress or a tension. Feel completely calm, poised, and settled. The topic for today is the spirit of spirituality. And as I was preparing on the subject, looking at a few learnings for myself, I thought, let me first see what is the meaning of spirituality. What does it mean? And one of the interpretations that I got, what is spirituality? Spirituality involves the recognition of feeling or sense or belief that there is something greater than myself, something greater than the body consciousness of who I am, something more to being human than the sensory experience of it, the sensory experience of our five senses, and go beyond that. And being human, and that the greater whole of which we are a part is cosmic or divine in nature. And this got me to deeply look at recognizing myself as a soul. Suddenly, all that came in front of me is the attachments or the limited world that I would have out of body consciousness. Most of us out in the world, and when I say us, is the human beings, would have different versions of interpretations of spirituality or being spiritual. And the moment when we practice the spiritual learnings and we step out and introduce ourselves or share ourselves as being spiritual, we get different responses. One of the most common response that would come in different forms would be abstinence of the goodness that you would enjoy. in body consciousness. The abstinence, the giving up, letting go of the worldly pleasures means you're not allowing yourself to enjoy, to be a part of all the facilities or the choices that would be available in the Lokik world. And in the given time, especially since the last 20 plus years, with the availability of the, the options that we've got out of what science is providing, right from gadgets to comforts to Netflix to Amazon Prime to games, everything. People connect happiness by using or utilizing these various facilities. The question here is, why would that hold so much of importance? Why following a pure routine would be so much of a challenge, right from getting up in the morning, early morning, to managing your eating and your drinking habits, to your lifestyle, to your inner management. And when I say inner management, means managing the emotions or sanskars. How soon would anger creep in? How easily would you be taken over by greed or by lust or by jealousy? How shallow would it be as an approach to being self-centered and look for things for your own self rather than looking at it from the perspective of others, where compassion would be compromised? Where being self-centered is okay because of the insecurity one would have to protect your own self. And then to justify, of course, everyone thinks about their own selves. Then why not me? The fear that one would have of being abused or being wrongly used out of being good. So when we collate all of these together, the other side of that is the depletion of your spiritual power. For many, spirituality would actually come as a burden, as a hard thing or a difficult thing to practice. But that's only to the extent we resist getting deep into the understanding and learning of what spirituality actually is. As I was churning in the last few days, looking at practices where we, as Brahmin children, as angels, when we would start our day right from Amrit Vela to getting on to listen to the Murlis, to doing the traffic control, and at the end of the day, to maintain your chart. At times, it may get overwhelming. Why? Because the basic understanding of what Baba's set for us is missing. I will not talk about anyone else, but I'll talk about myself, where the absence of that transpired into the realization and made it comparatively and gracefully easy. When people sit, when people sit for meditation, and many of them come and say, Yog nahi lagta. We cannot sit in yoga. I don't have focus or concentration. My mind keeps on wandering, or I keep on looking for something, and my mind remains unsettled. A few days back, I was listening to some content on social media, and a very interesting aspect showed up that uh, the certain souls who deeply practice meditation, and uh, that gentleman happened to use a few names, renowned names, and said, why do they have glow on their face? Have you ever wondered the glow that is there on the face, the way they shine, the way their aura is? How come they have that? And he was mentioning about these souls from various paths, including Brahma Kumaris and others. And the answer to that was that when they sit to meditate, they breathe deeply, they connected with their breath, they're one in that present moment, conscious to what they're breathing. Usually when we do yoga, the exercises of yoga, and when we do pranayama, and you do the breathing exercises, when you breathe in and you breathe out, kind of energizes and rejuvenates your whole system. But that would be the physicality of it. And coming to understanding the soul aspect of that, how you cherish that goodness out of nourishing your soul, how wonderfully consciously breathing and the thoughts that would be there, how that would contribute. So when people sit in meditation and then they breathe and they're thinking about something, some kind of a stress, some kind of a worry, anything of that that is going on top of their mind, then when they're breathing, that is what they're churning within them. And that's how it shows up for the rest of the day or the rest of the time. People have difficulty in sleeping. They feel that once the stress is out, the concern is handled, after that they'll be able to get to sleep. I mean, there have been times when I have had my challenges to get sleep. But these simple practices have actually supported and gone a long way in taking off the hard work of remaining stressed. And we are soon going to be doing that exercise and look for ourselves. Many of us, of y'all, may be already practicing that, knowing that, and I would invite you to do it newly, afresh, and see what experience can you get for yourself. One of the approaches that, when it comes to being spiritual, is about having some kind of a routine, and routine not in a good or constructive way, but as a pressure, where you would say, importance of getting up at Amrit Vela is there, importance of Murli is there, importance of following certain routine as far as your eating and drinking habits is there. But at times, for most of the people, or many of them, if I may say, it comes out of a compulsion, not as a choice. It would come out of fear, or it would come out of wanting to look good and tell people, tell the others, tell the people, tell everyone around the world, I'm practicing spirituality. So someone wants to have onion and garlic in their food. They love it, and they will not have it for a simple reason that no, we have been told over here not to have. But inside, the craving is yet there. Means you haven't chosen it. Means you have not willingly given yourself to it out of the understanding of why it is getting told. Listening to the Murli for 1 hour or 40 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes, sitting in the Murli. The same things are getting repeated again and again. What's the point? It gets boring. Or people doze off while listening, not having the understanding that this 45 minutes or 1 hour, I'm giving myself to be in a divine space, even if I don't understand, even if I may not connect with everything that's said. But that 1 hour, I'm charging my battery. I'm getting an opportunity to cut off from the world outside. Because the moment you step outside, it's going to be the same world. And then we don't have an option but to be with it, go with it. So giving that 45 minutes just to be in that divine space. And that's what the teachers also tell us, that don't look at applying everything that comes out of the murti. I mean, it's great if you can do that. But if not, just pick up one or two things out of that and take it up as a daily practice. That what is it that I'm getting out of today's murti? Much of an approach for many of the students would come out of fearing, out of wanting to belong and say, I'm a BK. And that's how the frequency will oscillate. it will not allow you to get that stability and gradually, constructively, organically grow in the spiritual world. Looking outside of you, and looking at how the world operates and getting consumed by that is so easy. But that time, that investment that you can have out of reflection, out of introspection, out of withdrawing, the power to withdraw, looking within yourself and raising your bar to a level where it is out of the reach of the toxicity that will be around as we step out to fulfill our social duties or responsibilities. Yesterday, I was listening to something, and very interesting perspective showed up that someone was asking that now I have done enough of business in my life, and now I want to be more spiritual. So I want to retire or I want to take it easy. And the teacher asked, then why do you want to take it easy? No, then I can sit and meditate more. And the teacher asked, how much will you meditate? 1 hour, 2 hours? After that, you will be bored. Then what will you do? So giving up on your social responsibilities or your chores is not an answer. The answer is to continue doing that. Even if you want to expand, please do. Fulfill each and every responsibility, but from a spiritual aspect, not from body consciousness, not from any kind of a greed or any of the elements of Maya. If you're working, you're doing a job somewhere, or you've got your own practice or your profession or your business, if that is happening to hoard more money, to get more amenities, more comfort, for some kind of gratifications, definitely it needs to be thought about. But there's nothing wrong in having a good quality of life inside of having a good standard of living. Maybe you do your job and contribute more to the organization that you're working for. You expand your business so that more souls can get a source or a means of living. Cutting off from your social responsibilities and just getting spiritual doesn't make sense, because where are you going to share the goodness that you're coming out from? The place to share is actually in the communities that you're associated with. How ongoingly, as we keep on going through our day, right from morning to evening, when you charge your battery in the earlier part of the day with the learnings, with that understanding, and then stepping out and utilizing that power of your battery constructively to contribute to each person that you come in connection with, whether known or unknown, is one of the aspects of spirituality. So looking within, just taking a pause, taking a break for yourself in the day, preferably in the start of the day or the end of the day, and actually being one with your own self and say, what is it that I want to give my life to? All of us Brahmins who are practicing, I would invite over and above what you're doing to consider doing this, where you would sit with yourself and say, am I living the life that I want to live? Am I getting that kind of a satisfaction, fulfillment? Or is there any kind of an unsettlement or upheaval within me that I feel I'm not yet there? I'm not doing enough. Penning down your thoughts, writing it down and say, what is the gap in between what I want to be or what I want for myself versus what I have, and filling in that gap by withdrawing, by giving that time and attention to your own self, fine-tuning yourself to things that are superficially done and moving to doing it naturally, organically. So I'm going to play a video here, and I would want you to see that video, listen to the content of that, and then we'll have some sharing. Okay, so Rakivan, can I do that? Okay. Nice. Yeah. Mm. Later. And have to find. I'm newly learning to do things online. Yeah, video. Okay. Do you have it, Rakivan?
Give me 2 seconds. I will.
Yeah. Yeah. Just see if. Rakivan, there's no noise.
Hold for a minute.
Yeah. Do you want me to try?
You can also try until then.
Yeah, let me try. Sure. Yeah, I got it.
Because my question to you is, what do you practice every day? What do you practice? Because what you practice, you are going to get good at. What do you practice? Do you practice joy in your life? Do you practice peace in your life? Do you practice happiness in your life? Or do you practice a lot of complaining in your life? If you complain, you're going to get really good at it. And you will get so good at it, you will find fault with everything. Even when there is no fault that a layman cannot see, you being an expert will see it. What do you practice? Do you practice anger? Because if you practice anger, you're going to get very good at it. In fact, you're going to get so good at it that the most trivial thing, will make you angry. Like sitting on an airplane and seeing the seat across from you somehow looks better than the one you have been given. And that is so unfair of the airlines. What do you practice? And what have you been practicing? Because there is an art to practice too. If I take a violin and take the bow and just rub it against the violin, it's going to make some screeching noises, terrible noises. And I can practice that every day, and become really good at making screeching noises from a violin. So what is it that you practice every single day? From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, what do you practice? Do you worry a lot? Because if you practice being worried, guess what? You are going to get good at it. And you're going to get so good at it that everything will worry you, including the buffalo you don't have. Because you will get good at being worried. So then I propose, if this is true that it is a question of practice, then I propose you practice joy. Practice being in peace. Because invariably, you will become really good at it. Peace is good. Joy is good. Being conscious is good. And if you can practice being conscious in this life, then that would be a wonderful thing. Because imagine the rewards of being conscious. Imagine the rewards of happiness. Imagine the rewards of joy. Imagine the rewards of a fulfilled life. Imagine the rewards of a fulfilled heart. Imagine the rewards of a life complete.
All right. Okay. Uh, you can unmute yourself, and if there's anything that you'd like to share out of what we've covered so far, please unmute yourself and share.
Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Gajab.
I know you're not going to recognize me. I'm calling from some other phone. I'm
Okay.
outside. I'm in Jagdamba Bhavan, but I
No, I
waited
did
for you.
recognize. I did
Yeah,
recognize.
I just tried to snatch somebody's phone because I have no internet. I said I mustn't miss any of my class. Okay, I like this thing which you put in the video. If you want to be P for perfect, you need P for practice. That is why, because we know the famous saying, practice makes a man perfect. And your thing in that video, what I saw was two things. One is consistency. When he said throughout the day, you have to keep doing. Consistency is there. And he's saying it can be anything, practicing anything, even if it's practicing getting angry or this. So practice is just a generic term. It is not a term to say, okay, if you do it, it's just that you'll become good at it. Now, what is that it is what you defined as spirituality. But for me, brother, still let me tell you, spirituality, I have tried to delve, I have tried to go, but I have not yet sunk in that ocean of spirituality. Why? Because everywhere in all spheres of my life, spirituality has been defined by different people in different ways. Some say it's morality, some say it's following a particular sect, some say it's following a particular guru, some say it's retiring yourself and going off somewhere and all. But one aspect which I liked in the knowledge is which you added, spirit, going to my spirit. So the whole thing I know goes to one word, the spirit. It's not easy, brother, to go into the spirit and spirituality. That was my one question. How do I stop this maze of spirituality, thinking, have I conquered it? Secondly, why is spirituality not put in a child from before? Why it should be only after a particular age? Is it something dealing with their mind setup? Do we have to wait for a particular mind setup before we infuse spirituality in them? Because from the roots, if spirituality was infused in such kind of a generation, I think everyone would look each other. So these two things, if suppose you could clarify in your own amazing way, I think it's my day.
So, to the best of my attempt, Gajaban, I will share with you my perspective and go with the second point first. That if you know at the earlier times, uh, maybe hundreds of thousands of years ago, the practice was where the children, that was the learning. But as the times kept on changing and we kept coming down, the quality of soul started depleting and the world got to be more gratifying. And it became more about the patterns that you would acquire. I guess it's just depleted and gone and come where it's come to this time where we are now going back and learning the basics of who we are. Body consciousness, the importance of consciousness comes because the body consciousness came. Earlier, it was only soul consciousness, is what we have learned. So I guess that's where it is. You're very right that that is the way it should be. And if you see, there are certain schools or certain institutions that have already started those practices of imbibing, instilling those values in a child. Even there are some practices which happen when before even the child is born. So while the mother is carrying the child, there are certain learnings that come. They're taking on, so that those sanskars can be started right even before the birth and as they step into the world. So that is one thing. The second thing about whatever you shared, uh, yeah, there are various perspectives and innumerous ways that you could look at. I mean, you go up to you Google it and you see you'll get thousands of accesses to spirituality. Now, what really works in my experience, is what are you getting connected with? What does your conscience connect with? What is the practice where you would look at, this is what is going to fulfill me? This is what is going to satisfy me. I mean, each and every path has got its own uh, rules or protocols or design, I would say. And that is something as a practice that you may take on to follow so that you can get used to it. What inspires you, Girjaban, is something that you look at. I mean, just being with yourself, just being in silence, just listening to your gut. I mean, whatever is coming from a pure intention, from the world of contributing, which is free from just thinking about the self. I guess everyone have their own calling. So rather than looking at wanting to belong or getting confused about that, oh, is it here or is it here or is it there? Maybe just taking all the learnings and then kind of straining it and just taking what works for you. And the satisfaction and the fulfillment that you walk out with is your path of spirituality. That's what I would say.
So, what touches me, what touches the core of me, what inspires me, what makes me rise, what makes me face every day, every minute challenges, I could redefine it as my approach to spirituality. That's what I got from your thing. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people are going to have their perspectives and they are going to share, they are going to tell you, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Say, okay, thank you. Thank you for contributing to me. Thank you for letting me know. I'll surely give it a thought, give it a go, and see how you can get connected to it. Right? Thank you, Gajavan. Yes. Who else would like to unmute and share?
Om Shanti, Vimish Bhaiji, a wonderful session with very practical insights into where do we invest our mind, intellect, and of course the original sanskars. Where do we invest even the soul consciousness is what is going to uh, determine our destiny. And herein, if you see today's Murli also, the Avyakt Murli of the Sunday, it says follow Father. So what actually we follow, and which steps we uh, progress on, which steps we follow, the intellect, where do we invest the intellect? Definitely the intellect manifests itself, and it gets multiplied if we intellect is in some kind of waste thought, or even the ordinary thoughts, and the ordinary thoughts are going to multiply the entire culprit of the waste thoughts or the ordinary thoughts. So how, and if we invest in the purity, the real gems of knowledge, then that culprit is going to multiply with that positive, elevated thoughts and elevated, and then that's what is going to make my destiny also elevated. So it's very much directly connected to where I am investing this present moment to make my future moments golden. And so this present moment is a diamond. That's the reason now, power of now is very, 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 it's like a diamond, and which is going to shape up my golden future. Om Shanti. Thank you for the wonderful session. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Ombai. And it's a very valid point that you made. And the practices that we have about what you said when you listen to Avyakti today, when you give yourself to something rather than having to do it or have to do this. You said, no, I want to do this. Let me listen. Let me just pick up a couple of words of wisdom from your nuggets from yours, which I want to apply. The moment you give yourself with that insignificance that you would approach, say, okay, let me just go. Let me see. I don't promise I'm going to get everything out of it. But yeah, just let me just take. That is where I'm going to be investing my intellect. These two things are really interesting. I think I want to try this today. So when you come from that kind of an approach, the difference that it would make, the difference that it would have in your mindset. Now, many people come and also say that, oh, mind is very, very disturbed. I'm so stressed. I cannot concentrate on the I cannot concentrate on the learnings. Once all of this is handled, I'll be able to do it. The difference between being happy and becoming happy. Your happiness, your peace of mind is dependent on things outside of you. Things are not going to happen. You're always going to be in the quest and only going to be there looking at happening at once someday. But the moment you say that, okay, I am settled, I know things are the way they are. I know there is this kind of challenge. Let me charge my battery and look at what can I do for myself. When the situation is there, people just rush and get into it with that discharge battery, but withdrawing at that time and actually looking at, okay, now every day we have the platform of Murli. Baba keeps on saying the same thing repeatedly again and again since 1969 in the Avyak form. And even before that, many people feel, oh, the same things are getting repeated again and again. But why does Baba have to repeat? Because the quality of the soul is so depleted that a simple learning, a pure learning, is taking so much of time to get into the skin and reach the soul. So taking it easy is taking baby steps from here and looking at what the video said. We would take on small practices, baby steps towards, okay, let me practice this today. Let me take on this practice tomorrow. And then look over a period of time, maybe after a month or a couple of months, suddenly you will see people around you coming and saying, hey, there is some shift in you, there's some change in you. What have you been doing? So yes, very rightly you said about the intellect. Yeah, what are you investing your intellect into? Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Bhaiji. One more reflection related to what Baba says in almost every murli is Antmati so gati. So the last dimension of the intellect. I mean that decides the gati, the direction, and the speed. What is going to be my destiny. So the intellect actually, Baba, in very simple words, says so profound things.
Yeah.
So Antmati Sogati itself says that where am I investing right now, and Antmati will develop, I am confident of Antmati only when I am this right now, this moment. What is my mati?
Yeah.
What is my intellect? Where I am focusing that intellect on? Is it on joy, or is it on sorrow? Is it on purity, or is it on ordinary? Purity is very much elevated. So where am practicing? What I'm practicing is where what I'm becoming, and I'm ensuring that the last mati is profound. It's elevated, so that I get elevated vision, elevated attitude at the last mati. Om Shanti.
And what I can connect with, as you're saying, Mumbai, as I was getting trained as a coach, as a life coach, one of the learnings that I got, which practically you'll be able to connect, that we were told that a vision followed by a worry always fulfills the worry. A
Yes.
vision followed by worry always fulfills the worry. So no matter how good you do, if in the last, if the cherry on that cake is going to be the worry, then the worry is going to get fulfilled.
Very, yeah, it's a launching platform. What
Yeah,
you have various arrows in
yeah,
your bow. Which arrow you are selecting? The bow is same. Bow is the your intellect, the soul consciousness stage. What you actually which arrow you pick up? Arrow of joy or arrow of sorrow?
sorrow, exactly.
So every moment we are creating our destiny. Actually, every second. But that's why Baba says, "Sankalp se srishti ka nirman."
So right,
Every sankalp is creating a kalpatri, srishti, kalpraksh. We are the master creators. And Baba says, no worry, no hurry, no curry. Baba says,
yeah,
no hurry, worry, curry. So we have to
yeah,
be very careful, keep checking. Am I in somewhere, get these mixed with this? These three things are in my this present moment. If it is there, the moment I should be very alert and practice soul consciousness, practice self respect, so that these three things are eliminated from my present thought and present vision and attitude. Om Shanti Vaji.
true that. Thank you, Mumbai.
Vimesh bhai, a rapid fire question, a small one. What is the
Yeah,
aha of spirituality? Or when can I say, oh, Eureka, I have achieved it?
everyone have their own experience. Gijavan. There is no particular thumb rule for that, I would say. I mean, for Ombai, it might be different, and for Radhavani, it might be different, and for Rakhi Ben, it might be different, and for you and for me, it will be different. So, yeah, I mean, looking within your own self and looking at what is it that you can connect with, what will give you fulfillment, will define you as a soul in your own experience. I guess that would be the aha moment individually for. Yes,
Om
practice
Shanti,
brings.
brother.
Yes, sister.
Ramesh Bhai, very nice. Enjoyed listening to you and to the discussions after that. I just wanted to add, actually, when you were using that little video and talking about practice, so whether it is the school teacher making you write A hundreds of times to get your handwriting correct, or the sportsman who excels because he practices every day. So it is a known thing that, of course, practice is what makes you what you are. But while y'all were all discussing, what was coming to my mind is, and we link this to spirituality, as we keep practicing, but what are we practicing is very important. So while we do know the core values and purity and happiness and all those things, I wanted to add just my personal thought there. I would also like to practice freedom. For me, being spiritual means being free. Free, not in the sense that you can do
Yeah,
anything and get away with it. That is not the free I meant. Free means you're free from bondages of life. You're free from bondages even of teachings and religion. You're free from any thought which is only my way or the highway, you know?
right.
Where when your spirit, in my journey in spirituality, what I've experienced is the more I have felt free and open, the more God shows you the light and the more wisdom I have experienced. The more you become rigid that this is the way it is, that's where your spiritual journey ends. Because you become very good at that, of course, because you're practicing, right? You become really, really good at that. But that's where you get to. But
Yeah,
when you free yourself, and this practice of being free is not an easy one because it needs a very open mind, an openness to receive. And when you meditate and when you actually become so open, you see so much more. And the more you become open, the more you see. Like you rightly said, the vision that you will get will be such which will lead you to more things that you want to see. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm just sharing my own journey. And I've realized being free is very important for your spirit to rise. Om Shanti.
I'll just make a small correction on what you said, sister. And that is our limiting belief and our languaging that comes, it's acquired over a period of years, not to blame anyone. I mean, I was there once upon a time to much an extent, and I'm yet learning that when we say that, oh, it's difficult, it's not easy, we've already given a message to our mind that it's difficult. I mean, the limiting uh, beliefs that we have out of our past experiences, they kind of get us captivated. And even when the thought of getting something for yourself that would be pure and divine, like happiness or freedom, like you said, or peace of mind, it comes with a threat because our system doesn't know what to do with it. All the life we have lived in a certain way, in a compromised manner, and we've been told about and we've seen it that, oh, this is life. So we don't know what to do with the goodness, and that is how we would keep ourselves captivated with our limiting thoughts. So my invitation to you and to each one over here is to erase off that language of that, oh, it's difficult, it's not easy. Radhamaniji wrote, practice brings perfection, but it will take a long period. Surely, let it take a long period. So what about it? It's been a long period that all of us have been practicing the stress or whatever we've been doing where our lives are right now. It's out of the practices that we are having. So how about now giving our life to those kind of practices that could support us, do justice to us and elevate us? So certain terminologies, certain words I invite and I assert must be out of the dictionary. Like, oh, it's not easy, it's difficult, I'm lost, I'm confused. Just be with yourself. Just do something with a pure intention, something that your gut or your conscience says that, oh, let me do this, let me go ahead. No significance about it. Try it out for a few days and see what you get for yourself. If that makes sense to you, sister. Thank you. All right, can we have one more sharing before we get on to a meditation? Anyone else? Ami Ben, Rakhi Ben, quick one.
So while I was listening to all the sharing, what I was getting for myself, and the practice is there, but consistency in practice is also one of the key for me to take on. You may practice for 3 days, and the fourth day it will drip. So being consistent, it may be a challenging affair initially, but once you're consistent, then it becomes a part of your life.
So I share this wonderful joke that happened in one of my sessions where someone whom I'm coaching and she comes and tells me that the challenge I have is that I'm not consistent. And I asked her, I said, since how long? She's like, it's been almost 15, 20 years that I've been having consistency issues. And that's when I told her, I says, you've been consistent at being inconsistent since the last 20 years. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so it's not that you're not consistent, but what there is a practice, there is consistency. Even with the inconsistency, you are consistently inconsistent.
True.
Okay. So, so what we look at is just changing the game. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, making it light, making it insignificant. I mean, the problems that each one of, if I may say, if they are problems or challenges, it's not something out of the world. It is something that 8 billion people on the planet have faced it in some way or the other. So how about looking at raising that? And the thing that we've got one is we've got this divine sustenance that would give us that platform to build ourselves on. So yeah, altering the language that we speak for ourselves and for everything around us.
So,
All right, Takiven, can we have,
yes.
should I put on the music? Let me try putting on that music.
Should I share the music?
Let me try.
Okay.
You said I've got to go to basic, no? Yeah, yeah. Takiven's been my teacher, teaching. Okay. Is the volume there?
No,
I can't hear.
no.
I think you, no, I think there is some problem. Okay, why don't you do it, please?
Sure.
The volume can be a bit lower. Bus, that's perfect, super. All right, so as we come towards the end of this session, revisiting our original self, free from the acquired self, who am I? I am that spirit that has a right to be free, to be at peace, to be calm, to be composed, to be poised, to be constructive, to be effective, to magically do what is required to be done. All the issues, the concerns, the worries, the stress, tensions around me are trivial in front of the power that I am as a spirit, as a soul. I haven't recognized my energies so far, and I recognize them now. This life is so beautiful. It is so divine to get this opportunity to cherish this life and get an opportunity to make a difference to each one that I come in connection with. I rest my arms to all the practices that I was having so far that were not serving me, and in turn, not serving others. And I now take on practices that would allow me to live that kind of a life that I rightfully deserve to live, that defines who I am. I'm rejuvenated, I'm recharged, I'm reborn. Gratitude for all the divine power and the energy, for what it is contributing to me. I raise my head high in deservability that this goodness is coming to me right now. Because I deserve it. Nothing and no one can take me away from my deservability. This life is divine. I am divine. Om Shanti. Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful session, for your presence and participation. Have a rejuvenated, cracking start to the week and the rest of your life. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much.